The reason I like the multiverse is because it not only gives us fun variants of our favorite heroes and villains, but also allows us to see how our universe stacks up in comparison. Today I'm talking about some of the most powerful suits in the whole multiverse. Yes, it does mean a lot of suits from our universe make the cut, but it's interesting to compare those to other suits not from our own world. What is truly the most powerful suit in the multiverse? What makes a powerful suit so awesome? How many times will Iron Man show up on this list? Let's find all that out right now. First things first, let's talk about the Godbuster armor. I mean, that has to be first up on a list of most powerful suits, right? It's like the most powerful creation in existence. Yes, it's one of those items that's so powerful that people chose to destroy it, because then there would be no more conflicts ever. But for that brief time, it was the greatest thing Tony Stark had ever built. So the origins of this suit stem from virtual reality. Tony was hanging out in the metaverse, hanging out in Escape, when the system basically came alive and captured him. Tony, please, for the love of God, watch a movie or something. Never create a virtual reality and stop creating AI because eventually they all turn bad. Anyways, Escape did come with some benefits. While in that environment, Tony's brain shook off all the cobwebs and unlocked its true potential. There was no limitation to what he could create. Did you ever learn that thing about how we only use 10% of our brains? I never knew if that was really true or not, but in this comic and this situation, Tony was able to use all 100% of his big brain, and he created the ultimate weapon. The Godbuster armor defeated the evil AI known as Motherboard and could probably go on to do literally anything it wanted. But once he was in the real world, Tony had his moment of clarity where he deemed the suit to be too powerful to ever have anyone use it and destroyed it. As much as I respect Tony's ending in Endgame, I now imagine him using the stones to snap himself into the ultimate Godbuster suit of armor and using it to kick Thanos' butt. But yeah, for its unlimited potential, this is one of the strongest suits in all of Marvel history. So in the MCU, Celestials are coming / are already here. Phase 4 established that the Earth is just a giant egg that was created to hatch another Celestial once it had enough juice. But thanks to the Eternals, that catastrophe was prevented. At least, sort of. There's still a giant dude sticking out of the Earth that you would think would cause massive tidal shifts in the ocean patterns or whatever, and have everyone on Earth question the meaning of life. But I guess we'll just ignore all of that for now. But what happens if the Celestials deem Earth to be unworthy and come back to step on us? Well, in the comics, that's what the Godkiller armor was for. This was a massive suit of armor that I think cost up $1 jillion and was powered by 8 nuclear reactors. Yeah, it was a huge undertaking, and although in theory this suit is the most powerful thing on Earth, it didn't do so well in the actual Celestial fight. Like, don't get me wrong, if Tony used this suit all the time, then villains like the Mandarin or Obadiah Stane probably wouldn't stand a chance, but when it was up against some of the most powerful beings in existence, it broke almost immediately. And yes, given its lifespan, you may object to this being so high on this list, but come on, it's a giant celestial fighting suit of armor. That makes it incredibly powerful. If Tony was still alive, we'd totally get something like this in the MCU. Like, Fury's sword Space would transform into this the next time that Arishem comes to judge us. I think the only thing the MCU is missing so far is a giant robot fight, but maybe one day. So this sorta counts as out in the multiverse since it's a what-if story, but the next thing I want to discuss is the Sorcerer Supreme armor. This is the blend of the technological and the mystical, with Tony Stark becoming the Sorcerer Supreme. So in this story, Stark and Strange were driving together on that fateful night of the car crash, and after Strange lost the use of his hands, Stark became guilt-ridden and obsessed with helping Strange. This led the pair to the Ancient One, and bada bing, bada boom, Tony Stark became the Sorcerer Supreme, and Doctor Strange became his slightly bitter butler. But I personally love this combination. The Stark Sorcerer Supreme armor takes the best of both Tony Stark and Stephen Strange and smashes them together. So Tony is this magic-wielding sorcerer in an advanced tech suit. The Eye of Agamotto is embedded in his chest and can sense incoming magical attacks. It even has a feature of suggesting counter spells when necessary. Yeah, this suit is so powerful because it accentuates an already powerful individual. And I love blends of tech and magic together. When done right, it makes for an incredible combination. And I want to build off that last idea for a bit. I've mentioned Iron Man suits for the first 3 entries, so let me turn my attention over to the other tech genius in the Marvel Universe who makes awesome suits and has a good grasp on the mystic arts. That's right, it's Doom time, baby! While the Sorcerer's Supreme armor is something that can only happen in a what-if comic in a different universe, the mystical Doom armor is very much in our world. And let me tell you, it's definitely the creepiest thing on this list. I mean, I can safely guarantee that no other suit of armor on this list is made up of human skin. So Doom loves to blend mysticism with tech, and in order to get this armor, he had to make a deal where he would sacrifice something he could never replace. He chose a woman he loved in the past, Valeria, and upon his sacrifice, her skin transformed into the leather that held the armor together. Ew, that's probably worse than Thanos sacrificing Gamora, right? Like, the equivalent of this would be Thanos chucking Gamora off that cliff, and then her mangled body turning into the Soul Stone for Thanos to wear around. Yeah, I don't see any situation where this suit is allowed to be featured in the MCU. Alright, it's tough to choose which Venom symbiote I want to include on this list. And I know what you're saying. CBR voice, aren't you making this list? What does it matter how many you include? You have like 50 Iron Man entries. Spread some love to Venom. Well, Venom 2099 is the one I want to include because I haven't talked about it yet. Yes, the Man in Black storyline gave us that ultra-powerful Enigma Force symbiote Venom, but there's also something really interesting about Venom 2099. And yes, this is totally a suit. It's a living suit, but a suit nonetheless. Anyways, the Venom 2099 is actually Kron Stone, who is the older half-brother of Miguel O'Hara. He goes through a similar arc as Eddie Brock did. Stone was this angry villain who bonded with the Venom symbiote and became a major thorn in Miguel's side. But the whole reason I wanted to mention this one is because of its evolution. In the future, the Venom symbiote evolves, gaining new powers like acid blood and acid saliva. And then it was revealed that the symbiote became more than just a suit and bonded with Stone on a molecular level, giving Venom 2099 the power to shapeshift. And the reason I mentioned this one was because I kind of want to see a similar storyline play out in Venom 3. Come on, having the trilogy end with Eddie Brock and Venom having to bond on a molecular level to beat an unknown threat would be fitting, right? Anyways, Venom 2099 totally rules. I feel like Ironlad doesn't normally show up on lists like these, but I wanted to include him here. Not only because I think his suit is interesting and powerful, but because Ironlad should totally be in the MCU. So Ironlad is Nathaniel Richards, aka a Kang variant. Yeah, the whole time travel thing is complicated, but at his core, he's basically an Iron Man and Kang hybrid. His suit is a neurokinetic armor that's made from a rare synthetic alloy from the 40th century. So you can't just pick it up at your local store. But due to his connection and his genius, he can control the suit subconsciously, and it has all the features that you would expect from a futuristic alternate universe Iron Man suit. I really want to see Ironlad in the MCU because that would be so interesting to see a Kang variant model himself off of Iron Man and see those ramifications and join the Young Avengers, all of that. Plus, that's easy to make him part of the multiverse, which I think justifies the inclusion of his suit on this list. Apocalypse is one of those unfair villains who is insanely powerful without the suit, but then on top of that has this suit of armor that makes him one of the most dangerous individuals in the galaxy. In the comics, his suit was crafted by Celestials, and it came with all these nifty gizmos and gadgets. I know that they're weaving the mutants in the MCU gradually and revealing that they've probably been on Earth this whole time, but before the Miss Marvel and Namor reveal, I really did want to see a different version of Apocalypse from the multiverse who has just this unimaginably dangerous suit of power. After the lackluster Age of Apocalypse movie, Apocalypse deserves a second chance. Heck, get Oscar Isaac to play him again and really get weird with the multiverse. Yeah, High Evolutionary has a name that Rocket is definitely going to make fun of in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. His real name is Herbert Wyndham, which is the type of name that drives you to become a supervillain, so no one calls you that anymore. Anyways, I'm including High Evolutionary's suit not only because we're about to get up close and personal with it in live action during Volume 3, but because the suit deserves a special shout out. High Evolutionary is one of the smartest baddies in the universe, and he used his gift with genetics to craft an exoskeleton suit that protects Herbert's body, even from death. Yeah, it has something called the Reconstitution Protocol, where the suit is smart enough to hold fragments of Herbert's genetic code, so if Herbert is ever killed or seriously injured, the suit can rebuild him. Isn't that sort of terrifyingly cool? I think it is. Okay, back to Iron Man for a second, because now's the time for the Phoenix Busting Armor. This one is a little self-explanatory, no? It was designed by Tony and Hank Pym to battle the incoming Phoenix Force. You know, one of the strongest forces in the universe. Yeah, good luck building a suit of armor against that. I wish I could have been in the room where Hank and Tony talked the design for this. Like, what's your planning process even like? You just sit around and draw big guns on a whiteboard or something? And yeah, this didn't go so great. Although you could technically call the suit a success for the way it broke apart the Phoenix Force, things turned south when the fragments of the Phoenix Force went into 5 nearby X-Men. Huge bummer. Superior Iron Man hails from a different universe that asks the question, what if Tony Stark never had his change of heart? Yeah, he turns into a big ol' villain and is incredibly dangerous. And without that pesky thing called morals or conscience, he's able to do some pretty wicked stuff, all with the help of his specialty suit. It's called the Endo-Sym Armor, and it's based off of symbiote biology. It's a liquid metal that hardens as soon as it comes into contact with the user's body and then establishes psionic bonds between it and the user. It's all the best qualities of a symbiote and Tony's tech without much of its weaknesses, as that universe's Tony fixed one of the symbiote's weaknesses by creating a shield for sonic attacks. Out of all of Tony's suits on this list, this is probably the one I want to see the most in the MCU because it would mean superior Iron Man in the MCU, which is the one thing I'm really hoping we see in the future. Okay, this list has a trend of painting gigantic Iron Man suits as some of the most powerful in the multiverse, so this entry, I'm gonna switch it up and talk about the gigantic Spider-Man suit instead. That's right, it's Leopardon. In this alternate universe, Spider-Man is the controller of a massive robot that visited Earth and has the ability to transform from spacecraft to awesome robot guy. This was revealed in the Spider-Geddon storyline, which saw a bunch of different alternate reality Spider-Men team up to fight an ultimate evil. And if you think Spider-Man with a gigantic robot is ridiculous, I'll inform you that this was actually a reference to the Japanese Spider-Man TV show, which featured something similar. You know what people always say, Spider-Man is great and all, but they should really put him in a Power Rangers-esque robot. And guess what? They did. So let's stay on the Spider-Man train for a second and talk about one of the most powerful and most interesting Miles Morales suits. Of course, Miles Morales originally came from a different universe before being so popular that they crossed him over permanently. But his most powerful suits came when he unfortunately encountered Carnage and the evil symbiote infected Miles. The results were arguably much cooler looking than the Venom symbiote infecting Peter Parker. The Miles Morales/Carnage suit unleashed devastating new power, and it took a second for Miles to get it all under control. And when he did, the result was one of the coolest looking symbiote suits around. Yeah, Carnage and Miles Morales are already two powerful characters separately, but combine them and you got something truly special. Okay, one more Doom suit. Now, this Doomwar suit isn't as gross or terrifying as his mystical Doom armor, but I think this suit deserves special recognition. The Doomwar armor stems from the Doomwar comic arc, which sees Doom go to war with Wakanda over their vibranium supply. As soon as Doom is successful in his attack against T'Challa's country, Doom is able to make a suit completely out of vibranium and gives him enhanced abilities like metal control. It's only beatable once Black Panther activates a device that basically depowers all vibranium on Earth. But wouldn't this be wild to see in the MCU? Imagine Black Panther 2 or 3 ending with Wakanda choosing to destroy their vibranium supply so Dr. Doom doesn't reach unstoppable power? That'd be cool. So, in 2013's House of M storyline, we saw Wanda rewrite all of reality to make humans the minority and mutants the dominant individuals on the planet. And I like to think there's a universe out there in the MCU that reflects this. But this means humans are actively plotting a resistance, and that puts Iron Man front and center. That's right, it's my final Iron Man suit. Now, picking different reality Iron Man suits can be tricky because there's a lot, but I picked the one with the coolest name and the most intimidating design. It's the Sapien Deathmatch armor, and it looks like a transformer attempting to look like Iron Man. This suit is big and bulky, but also packs one heck of a punch thanks to all the armor, and it goes on to become a symbol of the resistance. Last entry, and this one I wanted to let loose and have a little Goblin fun. I'm giving Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin, aka the guy with the hair that I want to see adapted in live action. You know what I'm talking about, it's those weird lines on his head that I've never quite understood. Anyways, Green Goblin has showcased a whole bevy of amazing villainous suits over the years, and I specifically wanted to give a special shout out to No Way Home and the new Multiverse Goblin costume. The first Spider-Man movie was later criticized for its goofy Green Goblin outfit, and And No Way Home did the wise thing of letting Willem Dafoe play the Goblin with a rundown suit and no mask. Maybe this doesn't fall in line with the other suits on this list, but it's a powerful multiverse suit that allows the actor underneath it to shine, and I think that deserves special recognition. So if you pitted all these suits against each other in an epic battle royale, which do you think would come out on top? Is the answer obvious, or is there a dark horse candidate? Anything you would change? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching CBR.